Hello, welcome. Hey there, it's Karen Haley, the digestive coach for moms, and welcome again to another weekly gut love community talk where it's all about quieting our gut struggles so that we can be the mom that we always dreamed we'd be. So welcome back. Welcome to another session. I'm so happy that you're here. It's me, Karen. I'm here sitting on my couch. We just got in from our spring break family vacation. Literally just ran in the door. I thought that I would either be on the road at 2 and I could talk to you guys from the road while we were traveling back, or that we would be back in time. But it was like 2:05, 2:10-ish that we were getting back. And so I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. We got stuck in some traffic. I'm just gonna wait, and so that I could actually be here on my couch with my poop pillow. So I'm a digestive coach. Of course I have a poop pillow. Anyway, why are we here today? We're here on another Tuesday, Eastern time, and I'm so glad to be here with you guys. We have a great topic to talk about today, and it's a topic that I've been talking about all week in my social media, in Facebook, as well as in Instagram, and that's traveling grain-free. In fact, today, I'm going to give you my 3 simple steps so that you can make grain-free travel fun. Is that possible? Can grain-free travel be fun? Yeah, you betcha it can be possible. I've been doing it since 2008, and over those years, it was hard at the beginning, but over those years, I've really perfected this system. And it might depend on how you're traveling. So maybe you're traveling by car like we did this time. In January, I did a whole series on Instagram on traveling if you're on a cruise. So there's that kind of travel. There's plane travel, train travel. There's so many different ways. And traveling and staying healthy, keeping your gut healthy, can be challenging, and it's going to be a little bit different. So today I want to focus on, because it's really close in my mind because I just did it, today I want to focus on what happens and how you can make it work when you travel by car, because that's what we just did. So I've been posting all week. You know what? Before we get started on that, I just have to share with you guys this. Okay, so first, before I even show you, it's something about my hair, but first, so one of the ways that you can strengthen your gut is by getting collagen in your life. You may have heard that before. The key component in bone broth, which is wonderfully healing for your gut, is collagen. And sometimes I kind of go in a couple months, I'll do it, and then a couple months off, on and off, with a collagen supplement. My favorite is Vital Proteins, and I actually have it here next to me, so I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is Vital Proteins. This is Vital Proteins, grass-fed, pasture-raised collagen peptides. There's a couple different kinds of collagen. This is the one that dissolves in cold or hot liquids. The other one, it dissolves in only in hot. So you want to make sure, you can use them both for different things. One makes Jell-O much better, and gummies and things like that. This one is for if you're just going to drink it. So anyway, I'm digressing on this story. I don't want to do that for too long, but the point is I've been taking this. If you're interested in finding out more about this, let me know in the comments below, and we can definitely do a Facebook Live session on it. But I just want to tell you, here's what's happening. So I'm taking this. It's really good for your gut. But collagen is also really good for your nails and your hair. And so I'm now having hair sprout up in places where I didn't have it before. Okay, so see this here? This is driving me crazy. I've got this hair growing here that I didn't have before. Okay, so where is it? Here it is, right here. Got to get that curl out of the way. Okay, so here, look at this. I've got this weird hair thing going on. It's driving me nuts, but it's great because the lady that does my hair, actually, she was shampooing it, and she said, she didn't know that I was doing this collagen, and she said, wow, Karen, your hair feels so good. What are you doing? So obviously it makes a difference, and now I'm getting like hair growing in weird places, so where I didn't have hair there before, so now I got this thing. All right, it's gonna drive me nuts, but there you go. But I just wanted to show you that it actually does work. So hello, how are you? Welcome. So I just wanted to show you it does work. So collagen, and it's affecting my hair. Okay, enough with the digression. Let's get back to why we're here. We're here to talk about 3 simple steps, my three simple steps that I've perfected over the years to help you make grain-free travel fun. Now listen, you might be saying to me, there's a lot of different kind of moms in the Gut Love community. There's lurking moms who are having things like dealing with Crohn's and colitis, ulcerative colitis, celiac, IBS. There's moms dealing with all kinds of gut struggles. And you might just be lurking and thinking, should I move beyond medicine? Should I take that next step? You can benefit from this talk. There might be moms that are gluten-free. You can still benefit from this talk because just switch out the word grain-free and make it gluten-free and it will still speak to you. But I'm going to, because I'm grain-free, I'm going to focus on the grain-free travel because that's what I did. But keep in mind, if you're just thinking about doing it, you could use this when you do take that leap and you decide to move beyond medicine. And if you're gluten-free and you're still having gut struggles and you're traveling and you want to quiet those gut symptoms or even just be healthy while you travel, nobody wants to travel when you're just feeling sick. And if you get glutened, if you get grained, it just makes the trip no fun. I know because I've done that several times. I either have so much stomach pain or I'm on the toilet the whole time and I can't get off. That's not fun. So I learned over the years that if I want to make my trip fun, if I want to spend time with my family, I've got to bring my own things. Okay, so that's what this is all about. I'm going to give you my 3 simple step plan so that you can be healthy while you're traveling. Now, like I said, today I'm going to focus on car. Really, you could extrapolate this to any kind of travel, but today it's really about car. And like I said, it'll change a little bit depending on how you travel. So if I travel by plane, I'd have to probably stop at a grocery store when I got there. But since I'm traveling by car with this particular trip, and that's what we're talking about today, I had my own food. So see how it kind of changes a little bit depending on the scenario? But I think no matter how you're traveling, you can find benefit in this video. So I've been talking, like I mentioned, on Facebook and Instagram. I've been giving tips all week on what you can do when you are traveling and you're grain-free. So before we get started on these 3 simple steps, I just want to share with you some of the tips that I've been sharing and kind of expand. You know, when you're posting something on social media, you know, I was going to say there's only so much space, but maybe there's a ton of space. I don't know. But I try not to take up too much space. I know that I do tend to get wordy, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to be like punchy and get my point across quickly. So there may have been some things I missed. So I just want to go over the tips. There's only 5 of them. I just want to go over those tips real quick, because I just want you to get to benefit from those things if you haven't heard them, and let's expand on them a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna look and see what my tips were. Tip number 1, and I love this tip because it is the beginning of any way you're traveling. And tip number 1 is bring your own food. So you can travel. I did it even traveling on a cruise, which I never thought was possible. You could do that traveling by plane, and certainly it's easy if you're traveling by car or bus or train. It's easier to bring your own food, but you can still pack it in your suitcase. I do it every time I go by plane. I did it when I just went on my cruise. So that's really the start. It doesn't matter how you're traveling. That's your foundation. That's the start of it. You want to bring at least some of your own food. And if you're like some people where you can eat out and that doesn't make you sick, you don't have to bring all of your own food. But if you're like me and going out to eat, because I eat my own food and I eat healthy all the time, going out to eat for me with Crohn's disease, it doesn't work so well. So I like to bring my own food, and pretty much I bring most of it. I'll go out maybe once, maybe twice, but pretty much I like to bring my own food. So that was tip number 1, bring your own food. And so, like I said, you're going to do that no matter how you travel, no matter where you travel, you're going to bring your own food. Okay, let's move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 was stay at a hotel with a kitchen. Now, if you're traveling by car and you're going to your family, you're going to your friend's house, that's a whole different story. And most likely they're going to have a kitchen there. And that would be a different conversation, because that brings up a whole different set, depending on how well you know the people that you're staying with. That brings up a whole different set. And man, I've done that too. I've done the traveling to my parents' house and to friends' houses, and that is a whole different kind of thing. And we should talk about that sometime. But I'm talking about the kind of travel where you're staying at a hotel. So you want to try and choose a hotel that has a kitchen. And the kind of kitchen will vary. I know that there are several hotels that do have full kitchens. And I'm going to talk national chains here. We just stayed at one that was not a national chain, and they had a full kitchen. But just because I want to appeal to as many people as possible and help you, let me tell you, extended stay, that's one that has a full kitchen. Homewood Suites, they have kitchens. There are actually even another Hilton. Homewood Suites is a Hilton hotel, and there's another Hilton hotel. It's called Home 2 Suites. Home, like the number 2, Suites. Home 2 Suites. They have a full kitchen, so that's 2 Hilton hotels. I know there's a Marriott Residence Inn. They have a full kitchen. So there's a number of hotels that have full kitchens. Now, some hotels, it might just be a refrigerator and a microwave, and that will still be helpful. Get the most kitchen that you can afford and the most kitchen that's available. Does that make sense? So you want to start with a kitchen. And even a microwave and a refrigerator is going to be helpful. Heck, even a microwave is going to be helpful. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the microwave. I don't use a microwave very often in my house. But sometimes when you're traveling, you have to make do. You have to use what is available to you. Now, I know a lot of hotel chains are not going to like me saying this, but I'm going to tell just you. Here's what I do. Like I said, I don't like to use the microwave too much. I bring my own toaster oven. That's not going to work if I'm traveling by plane, but if I'm traveling by car and I don't have an oven and I don't like to use the microwave too often, I'll bring my own toaster oven to a hotel. I've never been kicked out for doing it before, but I know you're probably not technically really supposed to do that. So sorry, fire marshals that are listening, but yeah, I do tend to bring my toaster oven. So the kind of hotel room you can get will vary. This one, we were able to get a full kitchen. It had a huge refrigerator. It had an oven. It had stoves. It had a teeny tiny dishwasher. I have to say the dishwasher was teeny tiny, but hey, at least it was there, right? Isn't that nice to even have that? It had plates and cups and bowls and dishes and utensils. So it had all of that. So that, I mean, when you get that, I'm just in heaven. I don't need to eat out at all. Why would I eat out when I have that? So that was great. So that was tip number 2. Tip number 3, when you get to that hotel that has those, that full kitchen or even the partial kitchen, wash all of your dishes, plates, cups, pans, pots, anything you're going to use, because you know, talk about cross-contamination, you know they've been used for other things. Now, in addition to that, and I've learned over the years what these kitchens tend to be stocked with and what they're not stocked with. And I knew on this one, I just said, I know they're not going to have a 9x13 pan. I need it for 2 of my dinners. I'm just going to bring a 9x13 pan. I'm traveling by car. It's not difficult to do. So that's what I did. I brought my own 9x13 pan. But pretty much besides that, I used what they had there. So I want to go ahead and wash those things, because I know, trust me, think about this. Think about the average American that's eating at that hotel. They're eating pizza, bread, pasta, okay? Whether you're gluten or grain-free, that's not going to work for your stomach, okay? Or even if you're just trying to move beyond medicine and heal, those are not the kind of things you want for your gut to be healthy. So definitely think about just washing everything. Here's what I do. When I get to the hotel, I just shove it all in the dishwasher. It was a little bit tricky with this one because, like I said, it was a small one. But it's still possible. I washed everything. And this one had a little travel size of that palm olive. You could even bring your own dishwashing soap to wash the things by hand, but it had dish soap, so I washed everything. So you at least want to do that once. Now you might be wanting to do it twice even, but at least once. Just wash everything when you get there. You know, just when you get there, when you're settling in, unpacking, just go ahead and throw everything in the dishwasher and give it a thorough wash. Things that you're really concerned about, Those kinds of things you might want to just bring from home. Like I said, I brought my own 9x13 pan. I brought my own cutting board. I have a really great silicone cutting board, so it folds up, so that's really easy to pack in a suitcase or just a bag, and so I brought that as well. But everything else I just put in the dishwasher, washed it so that I could avoid that cross-contamination, because you never know if something wasn't washed, right? So just take that extra measure. And then tip number four that I posted on social media this week was know what to pack. Know what to pack. And this is the place where I see moms getting stressed, because they think this all sounds like a good idea, but then when it comes to the practical part of it, what should I pack? They get in the weeds and they get stressed on this. Listen, this does not have to be complicated. It can be really simple. Just think about, what are some of those meals that you're eating on quick meal nights when Johnny has soccer and Katie's going to ballet or music or wherever she's going, when the kids are going all those different places? What are those 30-minute meals that you're already making? See how you can maybe change them up just a little bit to accommodate when you're traveling. It does not have to be complicated at all. You can do lots of leftovers. You could be eating foods for breakfast maybe a few times. You don't have to eat something different every day, right? It's not about eating gourmet, fancy, 5-star meals. It's about eating nutritiously so that you can enjoy your trip and not be sick. So don't stress about it, but do keep the plan simple. So that was tip number 4. And then there's one last tip that I shared this morning. And tip number 5 was simple meals don't have to be boring. Simple meals don't have to be boring. So one of the meals that I brought was my spaghetti squash with meat sauce. And you can actually see a picture of that because I posted it on Instagram today. So that's one of the things I brought. But now when I make that at home, I like to make my own homemade sauce, and it bubbles and boils all day and the flavor gets rich and wonderful, and I add in tons of different vegetables. This is how you can simplify this right here. So I bought an organic crushed tomatoes. And even if you're on a diet, a grain-free diet that's so restricted, like the specific carbohydrate diet, you can find some crushed tomatoes that are just crushed tomatoes only. These were organic canned crushed tomatoes, and it was just tomatoes. There was no spices, no seasonings in it at all. So I started with that as my base. Then I used a spaghetti squash. I just brought my own because I knew I had an oven. If you don't have an oven, that's no problem. You could cook it ahead of time and just bring it with you. You could use that microwave too, because I know you can cook spaghetti squash in the microwave as well. And if you want to stay away from the microwave, then just cook it ahead of time. But like I said, in my case, this time I had the oven, so I went ahead and just brought a raw spaghetti squash. So I have my crushed tomatoes, I have my spaghetti squash, I brought a pound of ground beef, and then to that, here's what I added. I wanted to keep the veggies simple, so I just did onion, garlic, and mushroom. That's it. Onion, garlic, and mushroom. That will give you enough flavor that it's going to taste good. That along with the ground beef. And then I'm a spice girl. I love spices. So I put in like a little snack bag, a little Ziploc bag. I put in a few Italian spices. Here's what I put in. Oregano, basil, thyme, and 2 bay leaves. And I just put it in a little snack bag. And then all I had to do when I got to the hotel and I was ready to make that meal, I just dumped that in with the ground beef, the vegetables, and the tomatoes, the crushed tomatoes. So I made it a lot simpler than I would. And let me tell you something. I think I'll make it like that again at home because it was quicker and it was so good. It didn't need to sit all day. It probably doesn't need to do that to still be flavorful. It was still really good. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Think about those go-to meals you're already doing and keep it really simple. Simplify those meals so you are start to finish, you're done with that in 30 minutes or less. Now with that particular meal, I went ahead and just put the spaghetti squash in when we got to the hotel and got it cooked up and shredded, and then that's how the meal took the 30 minutes. Okay, now if you're interested in that recipe, let me know in the comments below. And if you're just watching this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later and it's not live and you're just watching it in the news feed, Let me know below. Say hi in the comments. Let's get to know each other. Let's be gut-loving mom friends forever. I would love to get to know you. So go ahead and click below, not click below, comment below, and let me know who you are. We have a lot in common, you and I, so I would love to get to know you. Okay, let's move on. So those were the tips that I shared this week. And here's where people got stuck. People said, Karen, that's so great, that's wonderful, but the whole idea of doing this, it just stresses me out. It's that planning part. It's that I've never done this before. It's new to me. I'm not quite sure how to get started, so I'm just not going to do it. Does that sound familiar to you? That's what I was getting. A lot of comments that are saying, that sounds wonderful, but I don't think I could do it. It just doesn't seem simple enough. It seems like such a change for my family. And that's why I decided, I've gotten this down to a science. It's a quick system for me. I got to share this. I have to show people that it really doesn't have to be that complicated. So here we go with my 3 simple steps to make grain-free or gluten-free travel fun. Okay, let's start with tip number 1. Actually, do you know what we should do? Let me tell you all of them, and then I'll get into what the actual steps are. So step number 1 is to plan. Plan ahead. And not that far ahead. You'll see when I tell you that I'm a last minute girl. So as long as you plan, it doesn't have to be that far in advance. So step number 1 is plan. Step number 2 is invest in a couple tools that are going to make your life easier while you do this travel with your food. Just a couple tools. Don't invest a ton of money, but invest in ones that are really going to make your life easy. And I'm going to tell you what those are. And step number 3 is a quick and simple and not so difficult mindset shift about the whole thing. A lot of this really is about just a mindset change, and just a slight one, so that you can think about this kind of process differently. All right, so let's get started with these 3 simple tips. I mentioned the first one was planning. Okay, now, did I just wake up, pack all my stuff, like in terms of clothes and things, in the morning, and then throw my whole refrigerator in a cooler and go? No. No, I did not do that. But let me tell you, it isn't as difficult as you think. This is that step that is challenging for everybody, this planning step, but it doesn't take as much time as you think. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. Something I have to confess about myself is this. I'm a procrastinator. And I'm not going to change. I've made my peace with it a long time ago. In fact, if you're one of these procrastinator junkies, you're really going to get what I'm talking about here. I thrive on the last minute, I know I have to get it done, so it's going to get done kind of attitude. Does that resonate with any of you? I know that that's what I have to do, and so I'm going to get it done. And so I didn't really do any of this ahead of time. So I did nothing until the day before it was time to go out of town. But keep in mind, that's me. That goes along with my energy. That works for me. If you are a super planner, if you like to plan things down to the T, if you are like my mom who had her table and the tablecloth ready for her St. Patrick's Day party a week ago, if you're like that, then you want to do this a couple days in advance. But if you're like me and you're a procrastinator and things will get done at the last minute and you don't stress about those things, then you can wait till the day before. So only you know which type you are. But on that day that you choose to plan, here's what you're going to do. You're going to think to yourself, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to buy foods that I'm going to be eating for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and dessert. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and dessert. No different than you would already do for a regular grocery list. But you're going to keep in mind those tips that I just talked about earlier. You're going to keep your food simple. You're going to make sure that it's not gourmet. You're going to keep your kids in mind and things that they would eat as well. Foods that you can both eat together. And of course, you got to keep that hubby in mind too. We don't know how he eats. Maybe he eats like you. Maybe he eats like your kids. But keep the whole family in mind when you're thinking about that. But just keep it really simple. So here's what I do. I go to my phone. I love Evernote. It's an app where you can put notes on your phone. You also probably have a note section on your phone. And I just go right there. And I type the word, breakfast. And then I think, what could people have for breakfast? And I just write those things down. Just totally simple. So for this trip, and I want to make this really actionable for you. I want you to be able to do it, so I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. I have 3 kids, all boys, by the way, which has nothing to do with the story, but they're all boys. So our life is just a little livelier. But anyway, so 3 boys, so 2 of them are gluten-free and 1 is mostly grain-free. So I'm thinking things like, and I try to do, we were gone for 5 days, so I try to think of maybe 2 different things so that they can kind of rotate. They're not always having the same things. So I got some gluten-free bagels, and I got grain-free bagels for my son, who's mostly grain-free. I got some eggs and some oatmeal. Okay, now along with that, I'll also serve some fruit for breakfast, and that's really about it. Oh, and I also had some gluten-free cereal, just small boxes as a treat for one day. It's good to have little treats for your kids especially. So I just thought just a couple things, just a couple different meals that they can then mix and match. Maybe one day it's eggs and a bagel. Maybe one day it's oatmeal and fruit. So they can kind of mix and match so it doesn't always feel like they're having the same thing. And then for me, it was grain-free pancakes and grain-free muffins. And then I would add to that eggs, maybe some fruit like a banana or some strawberries or blueberries, something like that. Okay, so that's breakfast. Lunch for me, I do a lot of leftovers, and that makes it really simple. So I'm doing leftovers for lunch. And they're doing things like, we keep it really simple for lunch. Peanut butter and jelly, a ham and cheese sandwich. They can have leftovers, a salad. I bring little packets of tuna that they want to make that. I just keep it really simple, and I just let them decide what they want to have for lunch. And like I said, for me, it's leftovers. Dinner, this is where there's just a tiny bit more planning. This is where I think to myself, what are some of those go-to meals, those 30-minute or less meals that I could then change into a meal where I could have it here? And so here's what we did. The spaghetti squash one night. I make a honey mustard chicken that is like it's my go-to, we're in a hurry, quick meal, honey mustard chicken. And then for me on day 3, I like to kind of give them a treat, and for me it's something else. So for them it was pizza, and that's when they went out. That was when they got that at the hotel. And for me it was stuffed acorn squash, and then they had a salad with that kind of thing. And then on the last day we just pool everything together and have leftovers. Right? Because by then you've probably accumulated a bunch of stuff, and so it's just a hodgepodge leftover on the last night. So all you're going to do is just make a list. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, desserts. All right? And so you just make a list. So it's just like going to the grocery store on list day. Now, from that information, you just make your grocery list. So then I pack the things while hubby goes to the store and does the buying. And I don't know about at your house, but at my house, my hubby does a pretty good job, I'd say. There probably are a couple things that he gets that I might change, but I try to bite my tongue. I'm not so good at biting my tongue, as you might imagine about me, but I try to bite my tongue when that happens. And then he does the shopping. So I do the list, he does the shopping, and then on the day we're leaving, I just pack it all. I pack it all. That's it. Okay? So it doesn't have to be complicated. Don't overcomplicate this. Make it as simple as possible. And then for step number 2 is getting those couple things, investing in those couple things that are going to make your life easier. And those couple things are coolers that plug into your car. So actually, they're not really coolers, they're mini refrigerators. And I said to my husband, when we get home, remember I was telling you we just got home and I ran to do this video? I said, when you get those unpacked, come and see me and bring me the cooler. But he's probably still unpacking, so it's okay. But I was going to show you guys what our refrigerators look like. I have 2 of them. One is a personal one. I typically use it when I'm traveling by myself. It's pretty small. In fact, I showed it on a Facebook Live last week. So you could go back and see that. And then there's also a bigger one, like a whole family size refrigerator. It's not huge. We're not talking a huge refrigerator, but it's big enough. That lasted us for 5 days. So it's really a good size refrigerator. So I have those 2, and then just a couple of those grocery store shopping bags that you get at your regular grocery store. You know, those bags you can buy for $1. So let me tell you about what kind of investment is this. Those large refrigerators that you can get on Amazon, it plugs into the socket in your car. Those are about $100. And then the one that's smaller, you can get those for $50 to $60. we're not talking a large investment, and this will last you for years. And let me tell you something, the money you're gonna save from not needing to go out to eat is huge. So when we're talking about an investment here, this is not a ton of money. They will last for a long time, and it's gonna keep you well. Okay, so step number 1 on the way to enjoy your grain-free travel is plan ahead. Not so far ahead, but a little bit. You do have to do a tiny bit of planning. Step number 2 is invest in those few tools to make your life easier. And those couple tools are just some shopping bags and some of those plug into your car refrigerators. And now, the last one I mentioned was the mindset, which in most cases is the most difficult one to change. That mindset, it is so ingrained, right? It's when we travel, we eat out, right? Isn't that the mindset? When we travel and we're staying in a hotel, we eat out. It's about just shifting it slightly to saying, you know what? My health is really important to me, and I want to stay healthy while I'm traveling. So it's about just making that slight shift. Somebody's in the doorway saying hi to me. Hello, it's my son. Hi, I'm on live on Facebook. Hi, do you need something?
Yes.
Yes. You need to talk to your dad about that. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, mindset. It's about just that quick mindset shift, which is I don't have to eat every meal out because I'm going to bring my food with me, and it's going to keep me healthy, right? What's more important, you know? What's more important than your health? You want to enjoy this trip. So it's just this slight shift. And here's how I suggest that you do it. And this is kind of how I did it. I did not do it all at once. So I suggest that you start slow. You think to yourself, what's that meal that I could bring with me? Is it breakfast? Because that's really simple. Is it lunch? Is it dinner? What's that meal that I could bring with me that would be really easy? And just start with one meal. Maybe it's dessert. Maybe it's snacks. Just start slow. On your next trip, okay, on your next trip, I want you to start slow. I want you to just bring one food type, like breakfast or lunch or whatever that is for you. Once you get that routine going, then add another meal. You know, before you know it, you will be an expert at this. It's about just picking those simple meals, taking them and just breaking them down to even simpler meals and just going with that. Remember, we're not going for gourmet here. We're not going for 5-star. We're going for edible, enjoyable dishes for the whole family. Isn't it worth it? It just, to me, you can tell me if you agree, but I feel like it's so worth it to do this. I feel like it's so worth it because now I'm not in bed when my family is going out and having fun. I'm not in bed in pain. I'm not having to go to the bathroom 20 times a day. This to me is a small sacrifice, and I don't even see it as a sacrifice, really. It's just a small thing that I can do to make sure that I'm healthy while I travel. I hope that this information is helpful for you. I really do, and I would love to know your thoughts. Is it helpful for you? Share with me in the comments below. And if you have other tips to add to our Gut Love community here, please add them. Let us know, what are you doing to make your grain-free travel possible? Whether you're gluten or grain-free, what are you doing to make sure that when you travel, you enjoy that trip? You don't spend all your time sick. That's really what I want. And so anything you can share to help in that journey from other moms, please, please do it because we can all benefit from it. All right, that's what I have for you guys for today. I'll be back again next week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right back here on Facebook Live. Now, if you love this information, if you're really getting benefit out of it, if you're enjoying the Facebook Live sessions, then I urge you to consider to join us in the Gut Love community of moms. It's shaping up to be a fabulous community. It's a community I just opened, and it's for moms, moms with gut struggles, moms that are trying to quiet those symptoms to be the mom that you always dreamed you could be. And there, we share all kinds of tips and tricks and recipes and cooking tools everything that you need to quiet your gut symptoms so that you can be that mom that you want to be. It's all about moving beyond medicine to heal yourself naturally when you have gut struggles. So our community will have interviews from experts in the medical community and beyond. It will have experts in master classes where we talk about a specific gut issue that you guys are having. This is going to be a fabulous, fabulous thing. I'm really getting excited about it. So if you're interested in joining us, you're interested in taking that journey, it's completely free. All you have to do is go above the video to the header. You're going to see a link there, and that's the link to join us, to join the Gut Love community. And I hope you will consider joining us, because I think that we're all going to learn from each other in this group. And I just love that kind of community. A community where we can support, encourage, and empower each other. Empower moms to just be the best mom that we can be. All right, I do think that's finally it. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I had fun with you as always. And until we meet again, I want to wish you much gut love and much happiness always. Have a great week, everyone. I will see you on Facebook and Instagram this week. Take care. Bye for now.